Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to another Subpar Commander, where today we're looking at a 4v4 played on the Team Matchmaker, and of course it is Wonder 4v4 version 3C, which I don't know why I read out the versions because none of the other FAF casters do it, but whatever! Here we are! We have players to introduce and things to speak about, but before we do, let me go ahead and implore you to go down and click the buttons down below, be it commenting, liking, disliking, subscribing, or joining the channel membership or checking out the Patreon. With that out of the way and my shilling done, let's get into introducing our players, starting with Team 1 on the top left and Team 2 in the bottom right. We're going to go with the air rearguard position, going first air by the name of T-Velv. T-Velv? We're gonna go with a Velv. I'm just gonna make it a silent T. And he's a gray UEF, and he's strutting his stuff back towards his hydrocarbon. Then moving on to the south of him, we have his first ally, a blue Aeon, going first land by the name of Dave, because I'm not Nabuchodonosor. You know what, we'll go with Nabu. And everybody's gonna have a difficult name this game, because moving up to the northeast, we have a name I can pronounce. It's an orange UEF, going first land by the name of Neuroxis. And yes, this is indeed the same one you hear every time somebody says map gen, the Neuroxis map generator made by this prolific UEF man. And then up to his northeast, the last teammate for Team 1, a purple Cybern going first land by the name of Gardalove. And then down to Team 2, we're gonna have to speed run them a little bit, as we have a yellow UEF going by the name of RDGO2 going first air. Then to his west, we have ourselves a pink Seraphim going first land by the name of Cynic AI. He's rocking first land, and he's playing the worst faction. As we move to the middle and look at the glorious white Aeon by the name of Darren Yavum 1. We're gonna call him Dave, because that's actually really close to his name. And then we have a red UEF, which is last but not least going first land by the name of Mansurf, or Mankurf. And with that, we have all of our players introduced. We can speak about the map, as I've waffled on more than long enough. There's, of course, about 26,000 reclaim on this map. A lot of it here in the middle, but mostly just kind of dotted around the edge of the map where all these mountain ranges are. So the player's going to have no trouble jump-starting their economy, and maybe even seeing some very early switches into Tech 2, as that is relatively common on this map. As Nabu is over here fighting with Cynic AI's Calm, I think that Nabu loses this. The Aeon Calm has 500 less HP, and they have the same DPS. So generally, you don't want to do this. So yeah, Nabu taking a lot of damage. Needs to be careful. He's going to need units. Otherwise, this is a deadly position for him. He's taking damage from more than just the Calm. He's down into the yellow, and this could be one of the earliest ejections in history if he does go down, just by walking at an enemy Calm that has 500 more HP and a couple of tanks. He tried to build an Eruptor with 3 engineers. That's not going to work. He's really struggling to try and stop this push now coming up from Cynic. You don't generally see 3 tanks in a Calm being a very effective fighting force, but over here in the Seraphim lands of upside downness and wrong think, we have ourselves, of course... Wait, Cynic, no, just keep walking forward, dude. He hasn't shown you any reason to... Okay, I'm not going to coach Cynic. But whenever your opponent's doing something stupid, just assume that they're stupid and walk towards them. Nabu should 100% be dead right now. There is absolutely no way Nabu just gets to stay alive. Admittedly, he's the lowest rated player, so I'm not trying to dogpile. I know it's Subpar Commander. These players all below 1,000 rating. None of them are going to be spectacular. We're here to laugh and have fun, and maybe give a little bit of advice along the way, as Nabu he's dying on this hill. This is the hill he's decided to die on. Bomber coming in. He's just dead. Oh, but maybe not, because Cynic may be like, I don't want to lose my Calm to his Calm explosion. Or Cynic's just not looking at his Calm. Both Calms pretty much AFK. Over here on the eastern side, that we haven't really spoken about much, because we were staring at that the entire time, it seems as though Mansurf and Gardalove I don't know how to say that, but they are, one's getting T2 and the other one isn't, so it seems as though there's probably going to be some fire basing or PD creeping coming out from Mansurf, so going to have to see how Gardelov responds to that. In the middle, Nerox is taking a very aggressive position, just coming up here, slapping down a factory and saying, "This is my land, and you cannot take it from me," without considerable force. And his opponent, Dave, down here, is also kind of doing his own thing. He's building up quite the army. I think he has even more army than Neuroxus does at the moment, so that could be a bit dangerous for Neuroxus, but gonna have to see how that plays out. The air players, we can check up on them. It seems as though RDGOS 2 has gone for quite a few T1 interceptors, quite a few T1 units, and it seems as though, if I'm not mistaken, he's quite far behind his opponent, Velv, who is currently already T2 air. I think they're both T2 air, in fact. Nope, just Velv. And getting up his own Janus, he's going to be working towards T3, and he's on a stronger economy. Speaking of economies, there is a run-by coming by to kill Nabu's economy. This is going to just be horrible. Could see this taking out at as many as 5 mexes and a hydrocarbon, if not dealt with very soon. And it seems as though Nabu is investing in a speed upgrade on his comm, and he also has a lot of static defense that's very expensive this early on in the game. He's going to have struggles with the fact that he just doesn't have units to fight his opponent at the moment. So this is going to be a bit of a dangerous position. T1 bomber out here killing off a bunch of T1 engineers, 5 T1 engineers with a single bomber pass. He has speed on the comm now, and he's now walking towards this little run by, but the hydrocarbon almost slated as the sacrificial lamb. Luckily, though, Nabu has built a lot of T1 PDs, so he's not going to be under huge threat. Over here on the eastern side, I was speaking about possible fire basing, and yes, indeed, Mansurf subscribing to the, not necessarily the beautiful side of it, but the tactics that we saw of Vanguard in our latest Step Stool Laddercast, which is, of course, the sister series to Subpar. It's just 1v1 instead of team games. And he's building a lot of defenses. He's building his own Atlantic wall, if you would, of triads. But overall, we have Cynic AI getting speed and range on the comm, the trusty upgrade that every high-rated and low-rated player likes to use to get their comm killed. And then we have T2 now on the way for Dave here in the middle. Neuroxus currently just kind of chilling over here. He's getting a lot of reclaim. And speaking of reclaim, we have 3.9. Wow, this run by is still going. Gonna even pick up one of the mexes at Velv. 3.9 reclaim for Gardlove. Then Neuroxus following behind at 3.2k. Mansurf at 2.8k. Velv at 2.8k. Cynic AI at 2.7k. And everybody else is below 2k, so they are irrelevant in that metric. Overall economies, though, it seems as though Team 1 up here in the top left just slightly ahead, and most of that I'm going to be chalking up to Velv being relatively far ahead on his economy, but Nabu massively behind the opponents as he's only on a paltry 7 mass generation at the moment. He's not going to be able to afford these 3 factories, and it's going to be really difficult for him to come back into this game as Cynic is just building up an army. He now has gun speed and range on his comm. He has that regen aura done, so all of his units are going to be healing. You can look at this tank with no veterancy, getting 5 health a second. It adds up very quickly, and it is going to be quite dangerous for Nabu to be able to deal with this, but he does luckily have a wall of T1 PD, which are really good at killing T1 units. So I think that this push is going to get some damage done, but I don't know if it's going to completely destroy this base. We'll have to keep an eye on it. As on the eastern side, the turtling has really kind of made a stagnant front over here, neither side really getting all that much done. We do have Vipers coming onto the field, and of course, Vipers are very, very cool. Every time I see a Viper sieging a base, when you have a line of Vipers, I just think of that meme where it's the girl standing in front of the burning building with a smile, and it's just, I just imagine like the Viper being pasted over her face and being like, did I do that or something? This brings me joy. I don't know. It's just the meme I think of when I think of Vipers. But this push out from Cynic, it seems as though he's been being a little bit timid with the comm, but that's pretty okay. There's a bunch of triads now coming up. We have the Maginot line going up over here, set up by Velv, as he's just trying to stem the bleeding and stop Nabu's loss from cascading across the map. Cynic AI going to be getting up some ranks of veterancy on this comm very soon as he's killing structures, and structures considered relatively expensive. Everything except for, I think, the mass extractor, T1 mass extractors, will give you a decent little bit of progress towards your rank of veterancy, so he's going to be very happy with getting that extra regen on his comm. He's also, of course, healing up these units, so anything that doesn't die to a one-shot is going to get a little bit of efficiency out of that regen aura, and this entire base is going to be dismantled. Nabu, though, to his credit, staying alive. Staying alive in this game. As on the eastern front, we have Vipers now besieging the position of Mansurf. He's going to try and get up some T2 artillery to deal with it. Also sending his T1 forces forward, trying to just maybe dissuade the Vipers from being so aggressive. I don't know if this is the right call. I think you could get up some more TMD. I know that it may not be super useful with the Vipers splitting the missiles, but it will slow it down a little bit, and it'll be a lot faster than getting that the artillery. You can go for both, but you really probably need more than just one tactical missile defense if there's already 4 or 5 Vipers firing at you. Either that, or you have to fall back and kind of switch on to fighting with a unit composition instead of a structure composition. Over here in the southwest, it seems as though a run-by of pillars has managed to get a tiny bit of damage done, but nothing really significant, as it seems there was some T1 PD built up. Speaking of which, of course, with pillars, that means T2 tech has been achieved by Neuroxus, as well as Cynic AI, as he is currently sitting on T2 land, starting to pump out some Ilshibas, the also annoying and broken T2 bot of the Seraphim. And other players sitting at T2 right now, we of course have Dave in the middle, and of course Mansurf. And with the Vipers, of course, Gardalov has made themselves 2 T2. So everybody in the game, with the notable exception of Nabu, at T2 land. And the air players, of course. The air players both working towards T3 air, I would imagine. T3 air about 30% complete for Velv, whereas T2 air or T3 air just now starting now for RDGOS 2, so that's going to be an interesting thing to keep track of, see if either of these teams can get some value out of maybe an early strat bomber, which can be so devastating at these lower levels. And sorry about that. There was somebody at the door. I don't know if you all heard that, but I did manage to pause the game, so we're back. And I don't know what I was speaking about, but I was talking about, I think, a strategic bomber. Yes, so devastating at these lower levels. And yes, yet again, sorry for that little intermission. As in the western flank, all of these pillars and all of this T2 is really starting to cause issues. Although the artillery coming out from Dave is really putting struggles for Neuroxus, as it's just dealing so much damage to these pillars that are moving very slowly. I think this is a formation move, which is probably a mistake. Maybe not even intended. You can very easily get a formation move if you're very quickly giving orders, and it seems as though he canceled the formation move and is just trying to get stuck in with some damage. We also have some Oblivion point defenses going up on near the vicinity of Dave's forward production. So just kind of firebasing going on by most of the players in this game at the moment. And it's a very much so turtley game. As over here on the eastern flank, the Vipers, I think they're starting to break through. A second shield has been thrown up, and some more TMD has been thrown up as well. Try and help with this. A shield's been built for the Vipers to help them with their sieging, so they don't have to worry quite so much about the artillery that's been built up. I think Mansurf is kind of in a losing position. As long as more Vipers keep coming out, he's just going to struggle with keeping up with the maintenance of needing both shields and artillery to break the Viper's position. But that being said, the Viper's shield does go down to the Plink Hammer. Isn't going to be able to get an effective shot off and kill off a few of these Vipers. We'll find out momentarily. As Nano Repair now on the way for Cynic AI, gonna have a very beefy comm. The all-reliable combo of, Nano Repair, gun speed and range, and regen aura, allowing you to push very effectively with a army by your side, and also be a pretty damn dangerous force to be reckoned with whenever you don't have that force to help your comm out. Overall, it just seems like there's a bit of an ebb and flow to things, but the teams are split along this kind of this kind of diagonal axis that this map normally splits across. Nobody's getting huge advantages, except for over here in the southwest, where there's some Zooies, and they even wow, T1 PD and 2 mechs is stolen away by Cynic AI, who has just been very aggressive over here. The gunships out from Velve are going to be able to clean up this little kind of incursion, but I'm sure he's gotten value. Those mechs have already, of course, paid themselves off. Nano repair 42% done over here on the eastern side. Mansurf's base seemingly starting to collapse. He's going to have to get up another shield, but he is stalling on power, it would seem. Yeah, he was having some power issues. He needs to make sure those shields stay up if he wants any kind of chance. You can also cycle the shields by pausing them and then unpausing them whenever one of the other shields is about to go on offline. But, oh, there's going to be a little bit brutal. In fact, right now, the power stall sort of helping him as it seems as though it's cycling his shields for him, but not enough. These Vipers just starting to take their toll on the base of Mansurf, and Mansurf just doesn't have the units to siege this position now. He's going to walk forward with the comm, but I think that's just a mistake. He's trying to dodge mobile missile launcher shots, but he's just in such a difficult position, and this power stall is being brutal on his economy. He's just not able to get anything done. He needed to build a T2 power before going for that third shields generator, and overall just going to be a very difficult position for him to hold now, because this base is going to go down very soon, and then he's just going to be rolled over on that eastern side. Hopefully his teammate Dave can maybe get involved, but Team 2 kind of really lacking on ground forces. They just don't really have any standing armies. Most of their mass seemingly invested into these static defenses, which just aren't going to cut it. The static defenses can't really attack. They're static. So it's an interesting situation, but it seems as though Team 2 having major struggles, as Nano Repair about to finish up for Cynic AI, even going to go for Advanced Regen Aura, as the T3 bomber I was speaking about, there is a strategic bomber that I almost missed, now out for RDGO2. I didn't notice it earlier, but it's now coming along and just taking out mexes. Almost kills off that T3 mechs, one more pass and I think it goes down, and has managed to pick up 18 kills and almost a rank of veterancy, so might be seeing that happen. He has the T2 mechs there going down. That's going to get his first rank of veterancy, and he has air supremacy. Despite probably getting air slower, he's managed to get out his ASF in a timely manner, and he's now going to be able to shut down the ASF that came out to stop this Ambassador Strat Bomber. Maybe. Nope, the micro really bad by the air player 14-2, meaning that just T2 mexes are going to go down along with whatever it got before we noticed it. So that Strat Bomber, relatively effective. I'm sure it paid itself off. It's always a little bit unfortunate whenever you just miss micro it a little bit and could have gotten a little bit more damage done. But Cynic AI with that Advanced Regen Aura finish, now fighting 2 armies on his own, going for a very aggressive strategy, but it does seem to be paying off as he's making inroads towards his opponent's base, and going to be killing off this army by himself with the comm and the Ilshivas. He's going to be able to deal with these killers, and the army out from Naboo was mainly just T1, so it's not really a threat to the Ilshivas. So he's just getting quite a bit of value here. I think maybe he might want to second guess. He's going to lose a lot of forces, but I do think he still has enough with overcharge to kill off all these pillars. A lot of pillars still pouring out of the base of Neuroxus, so he's going to be able to hold this off, but once more Ulshivas start showing up on the scene, it's going to be very difficult. Ulshivas very efficient at killing off pillars. They're just a little bit better than pillars. A line of Oblivion Fire just took out a ton of tanks for Neuroxus. Neuroxus overstepping his bounds here, and now he's going to be outnumbered in the T2 unit force, and he just has inferior T2 units. They're cheaper, but they don't do as well as Ilshivas in a 1v1 scenario, and it's very close to parity in pure numbers between these two players. Would be surprised to see if Cynic AI does not decide to push forward after that kind of victory with these Oblivions doing so much damage. Over on the eastern side, though things are looking very bleak for Team 2. The western side was looking alright, but now Team 2 on the eastern side starting to collapse. These Vipers just dealing so much damage. I'd love to see these Vipers just throw a volley at that power generator. Your opponent's been having power issues, and they're also going to get some shots off on into the mechs. Is gonna kill off that Pigeon, gonna kill off the T2 engineers that were trying to build a shield, can now retarget onto the mass extractors. It doesn't matter if you lose the Vipers, if you devastate his economy. The Guncom out from Mansurf trying to get a little bit done. The Broadsword out from Artie trying to help his red ally. But these units just keep pouring in and dealing terrible, terrible damage to their opponents. The Vipers are eventually cleaned up, but now more Pigeons going to be focused down by Gardalo, who's, I think, just correctly identified that Mansurf just has a very weak power economy. And also this is going to stop any possible overcharges coming out from Mansurf's comm, which is trying to deal with this. There's now some units coming out from this western side to try and help him out by Dave. And Cynic AI pushing over here on the western flank, also producing a huge reclaim field. Speaking of reclaim, the big players are Cynic and Garlo, who are both around 14,000 mass reclaim, or 13,000. And now Narox is showing up, going to be trying to fight Cynic AI, but Cynic AI's comm is just too beefy. 18,000 HP, about to get another rank of veterancy with just a couple more kills. He's going to be able to take on any other comm on this map. He's going to be able to take on any army that's currently present on the map. Naroxus just needs to fall back. Naroxus in a terrible situation. This could just be Naroxus dying, as he's just kind of left his comm hanging in the breeze with his pants down. He's just going to be caught in a horrible position. It does seem as though Cynic AI is going to be a little bit merciful. He doesn't just immediately try and target down the comm. A Shift G move command trying to slow down the army of Cynic AI and try and keep Naroxus' comm out of range, but Naroxus, you can't outrun Ilshavas. Ilshavas are faster than you, and a couple of broadswords show up, and it's just horrible. It's a disaster for Team 1, as Naroxus, who is the one doing pretty well for his team, kind of holding together that southwestern flank, goes down in a fireball of glorious nature. And now it seems as though there is nothing standing between Cynic AI's common army and the bases. There's this line of triads here, which is going to be a little bit annoying, but you can walk around the range of the triads and make your way into the heart of the issue, which of course is going to be Valve's base. There is T3 land completed. If he can get more Percival production up in time, if he can get all these engineers assisting Percival production, maybe he stands a snowflake's chance in Canada. I don't know. I was gonna say hell, but that chance is zero, isn't it? Maybe he can withstand just a little bit longer, but instead he makes a cougar, which not what I was expecting. Whenever there's this entire army on your front line. Overall, though, on the eastern side, Mansurf with the Guncom managing to hold off Gardalov, along with the, of course, gunships coming out from Artie, which are really helping out. And T3 canceled for Gardalov, and now the Percival over here, the last thing standing between this base and utter destruction for Valve. And, yeah, Cynic AI just kind of went with the old reliable strategy for the Seraphim comm of, hey, my gun comm is the best, so I'm going to walk towards you and be just absolutely filthy. Just be an absolute heathen and kill off all your stuff. And it's working really well. I just don't see how Team 1's going to handle this. I guess you could go for some broadsword spam, but you've been a little bit behind on air, and now there's another strat bomber on the way, which could deal some horrible damage if it manages to get 2 bombs off on one of these power generators. Would be absolutely devastating. Cynic AI now going to be under fire, but he has flex. Sure, the broadswords are going to deal some damage, but he has 114 HP regen. It takes multiple broadswords to kill him in any kind of way that we would call quick, and he has enough flak to deal with that, so it's just looking like it might be over with Cynic AI pushing, which is a little bit decompressing. It's a little bit of a anticlimactic ending, but when you play well, you play well. Nabu over here, he's trying to get range now on the comm, but that's not going to really help, and it just seems as though Ravagers are the last-ditch effort of Valve trying to stop this push out from Cynic AI, but is it going to be enough? I mean, if your Ravagers, the only thing that's good for the Ravagers to shoot is the comm. Everything else, it's just massive overkill and very slow DPS. So, even then, yeah, Cynic AI is just going to walk up, overcharge the Ravagers, and it's looking like this game is over. Once they lose this air, then on the eastern side, the issues they were having with the air units helping out Mansurf are just going to get exacerbated. And it seems as though Cynic AI has found the key to winning this game. Just why, why go high tech when comm worked well? Velv on his last legs, about to be sacrificing it all for the UEF as the Ilshivas and that Seraphim comm, which is oh so beefy, shows up to just put the plasma shells into his AKs to expose that reactor and cause an explosive ending to this man's stint in this game. And with that, all that really stands between Cynic AI and victory is basically just Gardelov, who does have bricks out onto the field, but 4 bricks is not going to stop that comm. We're looking at a situation where you need 10, 11, 12 bricks at minimum to be able to stop this comm. And it's now at 5 vet, 120 HP per second. Shield, speed, and range gun comm out for Nabu. It's pretty strong. I would say that the Aeon have the second best gun comm in the game, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. As, of course, Cynic AI is now trapped here in the back, but he has air support. Broadswords can just show up at any time and help him out. The base of Nabu being picked apart by the broadswords of Artie, and Gardelov trying desperately to pull a rabbit out of a hat here, trying to make some magic happen. The only thing that's really going well is over here on this eastern flank, he might be able to pick off Mansurf, but this army is not enough to deal with Cynic AI, and Cynic AI still has some support to help himself out. The Strap Bomber over here also going to be helping out. Of course, Artie showing up with the Strap Bomber, and the Broadsword is going to mean that these bricks won't even have a chance to get combat effectiveness. And now I think that this is probably going to be the end of Nabu as the army dissipates around him. There's still some Ilshivas in the area that have all racked up a ton of veterancy. 4 and 5 vet Ilshivas showing up to try and shoot down this comm of Nabu. Cynic's still playing very timid with his comm. I think he can just walk at Nabu here and not really worry, but I guess he's just worried with how far behind enemy lines he is. And now Nabu is going to go down, and that's just going to leave Gardelov, who is currently struggling with multiple gun comms on his flank. Mansurf and Dave kind of just walking at them, and Team 2 winning via gun comm, really. Now there's multiple gun comms that can be attributed to dealing massive damage to the opponent. 5 vet gun comm for Mansurf, and Dave now walking up with his comm, starting to get some veterancy, and broadswords show up to deal with the comm of Gardelov, and that is it for this game. Thank you all for watching. You all have been beautiful. Like, comment, dislike, subscribe, all of that stuff down below. Thank you to my Patreons, and you all are beautiful. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.